It's safe to say the Constitution is like the big cheese of political documents. I mean, politicians talk about it all the time. Wait a second, no they don't, but they should. Today in our country, the Constitution is under attack, and this really isn't good if you're the kind of person that enjoys freedom, because the Constitution is what defends our freedom as citizens of the US. Without that document, there's really nothing that can stop power-hungry politicians from taking control. But here's the idea that's being pushed to our young people. The Constitution is this out-of-date, irrelevant document that this doesn't work anymore. I mean, it was written by old men who wore powdered wigs and tights, so surely we can come up with something better. But in reality, the Constitution has nothing to do with technological advancement or a particular culture. It's actually a very short document that applies a few timeless principles in a practical way. So it makes no difference whether you wear tights or not. If you want to defend freedom, you've got to defend the Constitution. So let's take a look at what the Constitution really is, why it was written, and what it says. Hey, I'm Daniel Myers, Director of Freedomists.us, and you are watching The Freedomists Show, the show that helps educate and encourage you to stand for freedom, so that standing together, we can defend liberty and justice for all. All right, let's get started with question number one. What is the Constitution? It's a political document written by our founders in 1787 that establishes the rules for our government. The Declaration of Independence, which we talked about last week, is more ideological and tells us why we have this nation, and the Constitution is very practical and lays out how we're going to govern this nation. Really, it's the rule book for our government, and it's the supreme law of the land that everyone is subject to. So, if it really is all these things, it's very important that we understand why it was written and what it says. So here we go. Why was it written? Because America had just gained independence from England and had to establish some form of government to bring all the states together as one nation. Prior to the Constitution, the states weren't really getting along and things were not very stable. They did have the Articles of Confederation, but it just wasn't working out well. So all the bigwigs literally got together to officially lay out what kind of government they would have and how they would have it. So it was written for the sake of having a strong and unified nation, and ultimately for the sake of freedom and the well-being of each individual. Now, what does it actually say? The major thought of the Constitution is this: we will have no tyrant. Basically, it lays out a way for us to have a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And here's the incredible dilemma the Constitution had to solve. You've got to have a government strong enough to fulfill its needed role, but not so strong that it becomes corrupt and oppresses the people. James Madison said it this way: the great difficulty lies in this. You must first enable the government to control the governed, and in the next place oblige it to control itself. And this was a challenge that no one had successfully accomplished up to this point in human history. Really, tyranny had been the norm for all of humanity. The idea of having a constitutional republic with a government of the people was unheard of. I guess you could say the Constitution was a hipster document. How about that? So it started a trend that eventually almost every nation would copy. Time magazine said in 1987, of the 170 countries that exist today, more than 160 have written charters modeled directly or indirectly on the US version. So obviously it worked really well. Otherwise, why would all these nations be copying it? So let's look at how the Constitution prevents tyranny while simultaneously giving necessary power to the government. The first way it does it is by establishing a government of the people. So the Constitution starts with, "We the people of the United States." Really, it was written on behalf of the people on the belief that the government exists to protect the rights of the people. So how do you have a government of the people? Number one, the people choose their leaders. So we the people are going to hire and fire the politicians. Number two, the people choose their leaders from among them. They're going to have the privilege of picking someone from their own community, someone they can trust to represent them well. And thirdly, the leaders serve short terms. The founders didn't want anyone serving very long at a time, although for various reasons the judiciary branch is an exception to that. but the goal of short terms was to keep things accurately representing the people. It's easy for lifelong politicians to become out of touch with the boys back home, take advantage of the system, and become subject to different forms of corruption. So our founders chose to have short terms for the elected officials. And last, the people choose their taxes. So all tax bills originate in the House of Representatives, which is closest to the people. So those are ways the Constitution ensures that we have a government of the people, and that's the first and major aspect of preventing tyranny. The second way is to distribute power and have checks and balances. Unfortunately, power has a tendency to concentrate, grow, and become corrupt. So having a way to keep everyone accountable is crucial if you're going to prevent tyranny. But how in the world do you actually do this? And what our founders came up with is actually pretty ingenious. Number one, you have 3 branches. So our government is composed of a legislative, executive, and judicial branch, and they all have to work together to make things happen. So they're keeping each other in check, or at least they're supposed to. And this can be very frustrating and really inefficient, but it's very stable and it prevents power from concentrating, and therefore it prevents tyranny. Next, to prevent concentration of power, you have state and federal government. So each state has its own government and they have power to make laws within the state. Really what the founders had in mind was for each state to retain as much power as possible. They really didn't want the federal government to have all the power. But at the same time, the federal government needed to be strong enough to oversee and protect all the states. So it's really a back and forth kind of a balance which keeps power from concentrating into any one person or branch. And the third major way to have checks and balances is for the people to have the ability to impeach their leaders. This is really the ultimate accountability. And if a leader does something unacceptable, the people can basically fire him and replace him with someone better. So there's 3 ways the Constitution distributes power and provides checks and balances. In summary, how do you prevent tyranny? Number 1, you have a government of the people. Number 2, you have distributed power and checks and balances, and that's exactly what the Constitution does. So next time someone tries to tell you the Constitution is out of date and doesn't work anymore, you can tell them, actually, the Constitution is just a practical application of a few timeless principles, and if it worked 200 years ago, it'll work just as well right now. So I hope this was a help to you. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the Constitution is out of date, or should we continue using it today? Also, if you enjoyed the video, please like and share it with your friends, and don't forget to connect with this community of Freedomists, because we've got a lot of good stuff happening on our website and social media, so you don't want to miss out on that. Also, we release a new episode every Friday right here on YouTube to help educate and encourage you to stand for freedom, so you may want to go ahead and subscribe, because remember, standing together, we can defend liberty and justice for all.